Okay, for this video I'm going to be making an example office layout. I'm just going to make a small office to demonstrate using architectural units as well as getting different layers to show up in different viewports. So to set up my architectural units, I'm going to type units, go into the drawing units menu. I'm going to change decimal to architectural. Precision I will leave at a 1/16 of an inch, and I'll just hit OK. I can also set up my dimension style right now as well, so that when I go to make dimensions later, I won't have forgotten to do that. So I'm going to come into primary units for the dimension style, change to architectural, and again, precision is 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so I'll close out of that, and I'm ready to go. So I will just start by making a rectangle, and you can see that our units are already different for what it's looking for. So I've got a, let's see, so I'll just start a rectangle at corner point 0, 0, and I will make a uncomfortably small office with a 5-foot 6-inch wall and a we'll call it 8-foot 8-foot 4 inches. So you can see to enter these units, I'm putting in the either apostrophe or quotation mark, the symbols for feet and inches, with a dash between them. That just tells AutoCAD what units we're using. So go ahead and hit enter. Okay, so I've got my uncomfortably small office. I'll give this a wall thickness, so I'll use the offset command. My offset distance I will put as, let's see, I'll put it as 3 inches. Okay, so I will select my wall, and I'll offset it outwards. Okay, so there is my wall set up for my uncomfortably small office with no door. So you can see that I've just set up a few layers for this drawing, but you will be using all of your layers. I just need these 3 for the example I'm doing. So, okay, so I will put actually instead of making my own piece of furniture, I will go ahead and insert a furniture block. So if I go and find my furniture class 5, I will go ahead and put in the desk. Hit OK. Okay, I've got my desk. It's defaulting to putting it in the wall layer because that's the one I'm currently on. So I will change that to the furniture layer. And then the last thing I'll do is I will give this a couple dimensions. So I will do the interior this way. Oops. And change this guy to show up on the dimension layer. Do one more dimension this direction. There we go. Okay, so my dimensions we can see are not annotated right now. So I will fix that by setting up my annotation scale. Let's see, I'll turn my add annotation scale on, and I will, well, first of all, I need to turn annotative on for these dimensions. I'll change the scale to, let's try 1 to 30. Okay, that might be a little bigger than I need just by the looks of the text. There we go. So 1 to 20 looks like it's going to be a decent size. Okay, so I have got my annotated dimensions set up. I've got my desk, and I've got my wall layer. So if I wanted to do 2 different layouts, 2 different prints of this office, perhaps one just with the layout of the interior with where the furniture is going to go, maybe the radius of a door opening or something, and then I want another layout that's just got looking at the dimensions of the walls, or anything along those lines. So to do that, I'll do two separate layouts here. I will change, because of the way I drew my office, it's sort of a portrait orientation, so I will change my layout to portrait. I'm going to change my scale to 1 to 20. There we go. If another little trick, if the grid is getting distracting in the background while you're in a layout, you can always come into, if you right click on the grid down here, come into grid settings. When you can either just turn off the grid everywhere, or what I like to do is display a dotted grid either everywhere in two-dimensional model space, or I will just tell it to display a dotted grid in this sheet. Well, that's interesting. That should have worked. Let me try that one more time. Okay, grid settings. Interesting. Okay, well, that appears not to be working nicely, but that's alright. That's a problem for another time. Okay, so back to what I was talking about. So if I want I'll set up another layout. Put this guy at a scale of 1 to 20. I'm just going to go ahead and keep this one landscape for the sake of time. Okay, so I'll have layout 2 be the walls and the dimensions, and I'll have layout 1 be just the walls and the desk. So if I want to make sure that the dimensions do not show up, I'm going to go into my layer control. You can see that when I'm in model space, this option here isn't available. But when I come into the layout, if I click on my viewport here, there's a new option, which is freeze or thaw in current viewport. So if I freeze that dimension layer in the current viewport, we can see that I'm just left with the things I want for this viewport, which is the desk and the walls. However, that did not freeze them everywhere. So back in model space, they are still unfrozen. And the same thing with layout 2. So for this one, I will freeze the furniture in the current viewport. Okay, so now if I were to go to, if I were to do a plot preview just to see what this is going to look like, we can see that it is just printing my desk and my walls, as well as the border of the viewport. I didn't fix that. So I'll close that one, and then if I go into layout number 2, and I plot this guy, we can see that the furniture is no longer showing up, just my dimensions and my walls. So there is just a quick introduction on how to use architectural units and getting different layers to show up in different viewports for your plots.